Happy Easter, everyone. So, Holy Week, for obvious reasons, has been a very busy week, but I did have the opportunity yesterday, Saturday afternoon, to catch up on a bit of news from the week. And did you know that the Trafford Centre is going to be closed and turned into apartments? Did you know that Ant and Dec are going to star in the next Bond movie? And did you know that Walkers are going to produce heart-shaped crisps? Funnily enough, all three of those news stories were dated the 1st of April. Holy Week often coincides with the beginning of April, the 1st of April included. And this coincidence invites us to reflect on the apparent foolishness and failure of Jesus of Nazareth. As we were thinking about last Sunday, how foolish Jesus must have looked, riding into the holy city as King of Israel on a humble donkey rather than on a strong and impressive war horse. And how foolish Jesus must have looked turning over the tables of the money changers in the temple. Everybody knew that you had to change your money into the temple currency in order to perform the right sacrifices, right? Besides, was he deliberately trying to get himself in trouble? And how foolish Jesus must have looked, teaching parable after parable in the same temple, aimed very obviously at calling into question the authority of the religious leaders. And how foolish Jesus must have looked, accepting from his best friend Mary a rather extravagant and intimate foot massage with very expensive perfume, rather than insisting that it be sold to help the poor. And while we're on the subject of feet, how foolish did Jesus look washing the feet of his disciples before their Passover meal? A rabbi, of all people, performing the duties of a slave. And how foolish Jesus must have looked as he was betrayed with a kiss of friendship by one of his own hand-picked apostles. And how foolish Jesus would have looked with hardly a word to say for himself when interrogated by the high priest and the governor. And when he did speak, he just seemed to make things worse for himself. And how foolish Jesus would have looked, dressed up in a mock royal robe and bearing a crown of thorns as the Roman soldiers cruelly mocked him. But all of this is nothing compared to the Jesus strung up on a Roman cross, the fool on the hill of Calvary, tortured and dying the death of the worst kind of criminal or of a wayward slave. What folly was this? What failure? Well, Easter Sunday was and is the day when the fool gets the last laugh. Raised from death by God himself and assisted by God's holy angels, Jesus gloriously subverts all the cruelty and injustice and violence that both Jerusalem and Rome could throw at him. And so it is that, as we say in our liturgy, the foolishness of God in Jesus is proven to be wiser than human wisdom, and the weakness of God in Jesus is stronger than human strength. As the writer of the letter to the early Christians in Colossae puts it, Colossians chapter 2, Christ, through his death and resurrection, disarmed the rulers and authorities and made a public example of them, triumphing over them. In short, the crucified and risen Christ shows us that the best regimes are founded not on the love of power, but rather on the power of love. And it's love, not power, that has the ultimate victory. The crucified and risen Christ shows us that the real fools are those who continue to hurl rockets at each other in the Holy Land. The real fools are those who poison their own female citizens. The real fools are those who gun down innocent children in the pursuit of their gang warfare. The real fools are those who continue to plot terror and violence in Northern Ireland as the 25th anniversary of the Good Friday Agreement approaches. And closer to home, the real fools are those who smash the windows of worshippers at the new mosque on Moor End in our parish. These people will never win. Only love wins. Let's make sure that each and every one of us are on the winning side. Christ is risen. He is risen indeed. Alleluia.